this is Anita of Explore Pilates. I'm going to show you two exercises today. One is a seated prep exercise for rolling like a ball. It also helps you with the ab series so that you don't go off sideways. It can also help you with 100 in actual fact. And the other one is the side plank, which is really important for strengthening our sides and getting us ready to do side bend, which is a more advanced exercise. And until we can do the more advanced exercise, side plank is still very, very challenging and it's very important. Okay, so let's get to it. I'm going to have a seat lengthwise. If you have access to a high mat that has the strap on the end, you can go ahead and place your foot inside the strap, one foot inside, and oh, it'd be nice if the camera was a little bit in front, but I wanted to catch the full profile. Anyhow, so one of the things that happens, I'll just demonstrate what tends to happen, is when we hike up one leg, and notice I use the word hike, it means kind of like you just pull without really thinking, and I've already turned this away, so my sits bones have rotated about 45 degrees. And the thing, I'm gonna take my foot out of the strap so that I can turn a little bit. There. Okay, so my leg is straight. I want to feel, even if I put my feet side by side, I want to feel that my hip bones are square, my shoulders are square. And then, just like I would on the short box for the exercise tree on the reformer, I'm going to pull one knee up and not let that action throw me back. So I'm actually really lifting up my lower spine. Into that lifted spine, I'm going to pull the ribs back and away from the thigh. And I'm going to pull everything with, so now I'm one full unit, leg into hip, into pelvis, into powerhouse. And this extended leg is not going to shrink back and my hips are not going to turn 45 degrees, but rather I'm going to still keep my hips square. It's a lot of explanation for a very simple exercise. I tend to do only 3 reps per leg because we're going back by lifting the powerhouse, and we lift the powerhouse to come forward, preferably not touching the mat, but if it's very padded like this one, you might tap it a little bit, and exhale forward. All right, and then straighten that leg, square sits bones, pull the knee into the chest, lift spine, elbows wide, okay? So if I'm facing camera, elbows wide, and I like to think of this kind of like Barbie arms, okay? So let's go back, and I'm trying to keep this leg pressing down and reaching forward, and I'm trying to keep my hips square as I pull back, inhale and exhale up. And so the breath pattern, it's as if I was doing rolling like a ball, inhaling back and exhaling forward, and I don't allow the feet to touch the mat. And that's it. It's a very simple exercise, but it really gets you in touch with your obliques and really the whole belly area. So I often joke that like we're gonna walk out of Pilates touching our bellies and people are gonna say, are you pregnant? No, I just did Pilates. So you can test how well that worked by getting into your 100 and just noticing how solid that feels. Particularly if you kind of feel you like awkward a little bit, this one really sets you. Here's your single leg stretch. Cool. And notice how this prep has anchored you, right? Because your sits bones are square, and double leg stretch. Here I often feel crooked, exhale. And here's 2 more, and exhale, and then come on up. And you can really test it now with rolling like a ball. So you're gonna pull the heels in, roll back, inhale, and exhaling up. Oh, need to practice more, and up. And try to keep your nice wide Barbie arms bent as you come up. All right, so that's your rolling prep. It's getting warm in here. All right, so side plank, as I mentioned earlier, I like to just start on my elbows because it kind of like, it's a great way to trick yourself into doing something hard. And legs are bent. I have my feet staggered, or you can have them stacked. Doesn't really matter because you're not going to lift the knees. You're going to put the hand on your lower waist just to remind yourself to get that nice and solid. And then you're going to float the hips up, not lifting up here because then you're just straining your shoulder joint, but you're just gonna hover the hips, and that really works the underside. Hold, 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 and then lower down. Hover up. You're making a straight line from your knees right up through the crown of the head, and then lower down. And then lift on up. Press the arm into the mat. If I can remember to say all this stuff. Open chest, long neck, look straight ahead instead of looking down, and then down. Okay, so we did about 3 times. Let's switch to the other side. Elbow, open chest, long spine. Get that underside working, and I don't know where to put this hand, so I'm just gonna go here. Hover up that top, hover the hip, so now you're in a straight line. And your goal is not to lift it up super high, but to come in straight line, and then exhale down. And really, less is more here. Press down, hover, 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 and lower down. Last time, hover, hover, hover. Long neck. Don't look at the camera, look straight ahead, and then lower down. You can progress this. Let's go back to our first side. You can progress this by having straight arm and lifting up into straight line, right? So now you have that feeling of a straight arm, still pulling up, and then lowering down. And let your body kind of travel on the diagonal when you come down, and then you're going to anchor feet, gather the side, pull the shoulder in rather so that it's not up to your ear, and then you're going to come on up like you're just kind of shooting up on the diagonal. Hopefully shoulder lands over the wrist. Sometimes we have a tendency to put the arm out too far, pulling in, and again, open chest, pull the ribs in, straight line, look straight ahead, bend the knees, and bring it back in. All right, other side. So this gives you an idea of the progression, and I'm not gonna do the lower lift and all that. I'm just gonna come up and then down, because sometimes getting out of the exercise too is an exercise in itself. I'm checking that my lower waist is on, straight line. Try to keep that supporting arm a little bit bent, don't lock it out, and hang out in hyperextension. Inhale, and then exhale, down, and then lifting up. Anchor feet, pull the waist in and up and down. All right, not bad, not bad. Okay, then we can give ourselves a little stretch up and over. I'm trying not to drop that head, by the way, and reach the arm, anchor the hip. Come on, all that good stuff, right? Lift the arm. We're gonna anchor this hip and then reach this arm. So it's a true stretch and not just a drop. And then lift on up. All right, awesome work. Keep on keeping on, and have a great day. Bye-bye.